right, hello and welcome to another Expert Inside interview. My name is John Golden from SalesPOP, online sales magazine and Pipeliner CRM, joining you as usual from a sunny, actually a very, very sunny San Diego, heat wave actually. And today I'm delighted to be joined by Ryan Englin. How's your weather, Ryan?
It's hot and humid right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And Ryan's the founder of Core Matters, host of the Titans of the Trades podcast, and author of Hire Better People Faster. You work with businesses who are done losing great people to fixable problems. I always love that, fixable problems,
Yeah.
and helping them build teams that actually stay and perform. And you're a speaker and a podcaster, as we said. So tell me, what do you think is happening with frontline managers' time today, and they don't get any time to do anything right now. They're so busy and so interested. So even hiring or doing anything like that, they're so dragged in many directions.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many things that compound the issue. There's a lack of training, there's a lack of support from executive leadership. There's this labor crisis that makes it hard for them to fill positions. So they're often doing a lot of the work too. They're expected to lead and do the work.
Hmm.
There's just so many things that are stacked against those frontline supervisors right now. And we have to do something collectively to fix it, because it's not
Yeah.
one thing that's the problem. It's not like we can just point to one thing and say, if we just did that, it would fix it. They're getting pulled in so many different directions.
Yeah, and that's why I think that whole conversation about AI replacing people is the wrong conversation to be having. I mean,
Agreed.
yes, there's a part of that, but to your point, the right conversation is okay. If we have frontline managers, we've invested a lot of time, energy, and money in making them the best that they can be. Why wouldn't we use AI, as you said, to remove all of that busy work, or to at least like alleviate a lot of it so they can actually do their jobs properly?
Yeah. I think it sells magazines and it sells newspapers to say that AI is coming for your job. And I
Hmm.
do think there are some jobs out there that will be transformed because of AI. But I don't think there's gonna be a whole lot of jobs that go away. Because 'cause I'll be honest with you, can AI write a legal agreement better than an attorney? Probably, but I still want a human being to have a conversation with. I still want a
Hmm.
human being
Hmm.
that understands me
Yeah.
emotionally
And
and
by the way, Ryan, just to interrupt you there, I was
Yeah.
talking to somebody recently, actually, somebody in the legal profession, and there are legal people getting into trouble now for using AI and not
Oh,
checking their and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah.
yeah, yeah, no, I wouldn't if my attorney said, I can do this cheaply for you, I'll do it through AI. I'd say, yeah, it's okay, I'll do it through another attorney.
Yeah. But I think the thing that's important to recognize is when we work with people like attorneys, they are a trusted advisor.
Yes.
AI is not advising me. AI is giving me the facts. It is telling me the facts. It doesn't understand my personal situation, my emotional situation. It doesn't have the background history. So I think that AI coming from your jobs, it's good for selling clicks and
Hmm.
getting people interested in that. I do think there are some roles that AI is coming after,
Sure.
but it's going to be a while. And I think that for the people that are in that space that are willing to adapt and adopt the AI, they're going to become so much more valuable to organizations. Like the idea that, oh, they're expendable because they're just a frontline worker, that's going to go away, because we're going to have frontline talent that is equipped, enabled, and skilled at using automation and AI tools and those kinds of things. They're going to become so much more valuable to any organization.
Yeah, no, no, I agree completely. So how at your organization, how have you used AI, or how are you integrating AI into what you do?
Yeah, there's a few things that we're doing. One of them we find is that people, especially frontline supervisors, they really struggle connecting with and communicating with their people. Whether that's a tough talk, whether that's a performance evaluation, whether that is just a hey, how you doing? Like a reminder, like, hey,
Mm.
remember that goal you're working on? Little
Yep.
things like that. Because we talked about they're so busy, they're pulled in so many different directions, whether it's an unwillingness or they just don't have the capacity to do it. We find that AI can help with the reminders, can help with the
Mm.
nudges, can help with the scripting, can help with those things. And if it's done right, it can be done in a way that takes no extra time on the manager's part.
Yeah.
And because right now, I think a lot of companies are saying, hey, manager, I know you already don't have enough time. Go learn AI and figure out how to communicate better. And that's not what we're doing. What we're actually looking at is, can we create agents that can actually identify where opportunities exist
Mhm,
and create the script for them? And then just taps them on the shoulder and it says, hey, by the way, here's the email I want you to send today. Here's the message I want you to say. When you're in the morning huddle or when you have their performance eval, here are the things I want you to bring up. And
mhm.
AI can help you with that in ways that like people aren't really thinking about right now.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting about that too, Ryan, is just thinking about AI differently. It's like, as you mentioned, people, right? We're not really hardwired. I mean, there are exceptions, but mostly we're not hardwired to be that systematic and that process driven and everything to be that disciplined, right?
Mhm.
AI is great for that.
Yeah.
And so we should use it for that, but we should actually then say, okay, what is it actually releasing? And that is it's releasing the ability to be really human, to be that person who can be creative, who can think a little outside the box, can draw on your own experiences, can get creative with the client, all the human things that are largely imperfect and AI is going to struggle to replicate a lot of those kind of very, very human, traits, at least for now.
Yeah, and I think that the other thing too is that we often put on our frontline supervisors tasks and activities that they may not be the best at.
Yeah.
Often our frontline supervisors are great individual contributors. Like we've got our great salesperson, we got our
Mhm.
great customer service rep, and we promote them to leadership. And maybe they're not the best at identifying the opportunities or thinking strategically, but they're really good at connecting with
Mhm.
people.
Yeah.
So why force them to do something that they're not strong at when we can get AI or we can get automation tools to help them with that so that they can focus on the things they are good at, the connecting, the human
Mhm.
relationship, the human condition, those kinds of things. And I think that the more we get computers to do computer stuff and people to do people stuff,
Yeah.
the better we're all going to be.
I agree. And coming back to what you just said there a moment ago about this, I think this is a problem, not just for frontline managers and not just, yeah, I always love that thing where, somebody's a top performer. So you punish them by promoting them into a leadership role that they're not prepared for, that they probably didn't even really want.
Yes.
And then you go, well, you didn't work out very well. And they're going, yeah, well, I was great at my other job, but you never trained me and you gave me a vague job and all that. But here's the thing is, I think there's a deeper philosophical thing, and I think it's a deep human trait as well, is that we're very good at spotting weaknesses, right? And things that aren't working and all of that. And if you think of look at our appraisal processes in most companies. What is it?
Mm.
Well done, Ryan. You did two things great this year, but here's 52 things you need to work on, right?
Oh, by the way,
Instead,
you started doing those things wrong 12 months ago.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And instead, to your point is, why aren't we looking at people and we're going, hang on, Ryan, the two things Ryan does really well are really important and he does them really, really well. The rest of the stuff can be done by other people who do that better or by a machine or whatever. But instead we fixate on the parts that you're not good at.
Yeah. And I think the other thing too is, yes, we fixate on that. I mean, that's where Clifton Strengths comes in when we start talking about people's strengths and where they should really put their efforts.
Yeah.
But I think the other thing too is we look at performance evals as a necessary evil. It's something we have to do in order to
Yeah.
justify giving someone a pay raise.
Hmm.
And no one's ever taught us. No one's ever thought about it. So we Google it real quick. We need like, hey, I need a performance eval checklist. It tells them what to do when they're done. There's no thinking. There's no, strategic relationship building. There's none of that. That performance eval is such a critical time in the relationship that you have with your team. Like that's where some real magic can happen. But to your point, here's the 3 things you've done right this year and the 52 things you've done wrong for the last 12 months. And I've actually heard employees tell me during exit interviews to go, that information would have been great 12 months ago.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Well, that's the other thing, Ryan. I think this is the root of a lot of problems in organizations is role definition, like really like
Mm,
what is your role? What do I expect? And what are the deliverables? And obviously they change, but we often don't explain them well enough to people or people or you hire in somebody and you hired them in on a job description that you pretty much lifted off the internet and changed a
yeah.
couple of words, right? So you never really read it. When they come in, you don't really have a formal training program. You just say, oh yeah, we'll teach you as we go, all of this. We don't really define and tell you what to do. And then 8 months later, you're drowning, but it's not your fault because you don't even know where you should be swimming.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've heard it so many times. "Oh, they're a tech, they're a CSR, they're an outside sales rep. They know what their job is."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Do they?
Do they?
They know what you expect of them."
Y
So, yeah, that role definition, that job description, we do job descriptions a lot, because it's so critical to create clarity with your team, and the amount of pushback I get from leaders is crazy. They're like, "This thing's 3 pages long." I'm like, "Well, you didn't have to write it, so
Yeah, yeah,
don't worry
yeah.
about it."
So, yeah.
They're like, "It's 3 pages long. No one's ever gonna read this." I'm not kidding you. We have stories of employees who've read it and dropped into tears because they knew that there was a problem. They knew that they've been having these challenges. They've been frustrated with their boss or scared to come to work because they know they're not contributing well. And they drop into tears because they go, "Now I know what you expect." Like it's tears
Yeah.
of joy.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that is something that's so overlooked in organization. What a massive win that is if you just put a little bit of extra effort into making sure that everybody understands their job, what's required of them, and what how success is measured. Because that's the other thing too. I mean, if you don't know how you're being measured, I mean, you could do along going along doing your job, but you're kind of doing it blind.
Yeah, no news is good news. That's what they always say, right? If I'm not yelling at you, that means you're
Yeah.
doing an okay job. But people are looking around, and go, "But I don't know what I'm doing. Like, how are you measuring me? What am I being graded against?" And then what happens is we get to the review time and we go, "You know what? They don't deserve the 5% that I was thinking about. Give them. I'm going to give them 3." And then we go, "What could I do to get to the 5?" And they say, "Work harder." What the heck does that
Yeah.
mean?
That, Ryan, that is the one thing. That is the thing I think that is probably the most common across organizations is that kind of get out of jail free card. Well, what should I do? Work harder.
Yeah.
Like come in earlier, leave later, whatever. I
Yeah.
don't know. Answer emails at 10 o'clock at night,
Read my
whatever.
mind.
Yeah.
Do it before I ask you to.
Yeah,
Like, I don't
exactly.
know
Yeah.
what they want.
Reply before I asked you. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that and yeah, and you wonder why people are sitting there with their hands up going, how do I operate in this climate?
Yeah. And one of our core values at Core Matters is create clarity. And I think that we talk about the frontline supervisor being overworked and
Mhm.
overwhelmed with everything else. But you know what? So is the manager, so is the leader, so is the owner. We all have way too much time on our plate. And AI isn't making it easier.
No.
A lot of the stuff showing that people become more productive, but then they fill in the time with more work. And
Mhm.
so it's just compounding this burden that we have of saying, "You know what? I don't have time to be a better leader. I don't have time to communicate more effectively. I don't have time to figure out what their goals are or how I'm measuring their work. I'll know it when I see it."
Yeah.
That's not about creating clarity. And when you create clarity for your team just runs so much better.
And the thing about you just saying about the frontline managers and as you said AI, and we're seeing this across the board now. It's phenomenal. It's like as you said, it's it on the surface speeds everything up, right? So
Mhm.
suddenly you just fling something into Chat GPT or Claude or Perplexity or whatever, and so you can generate stuff at a rapid rate that you could never do it before. So in some ways, people are getting lost in a snowstorm of like, here, do this, look, I just ran this, here's a new initiative, here's a new thing, I just generated this, look at this. And so in some ways a lot of it's becoming a little bit chaotic because people aren't using, and also people aren't using AI properly. They're just thinking, oh, I just, if I get a good prompt, put it in, then it's going to give me the correct answer. No, it's not going to give you the correct answer.
Oh,
If you've been using it long enough, it's going to give you a bias answer. It's going to try and please you. It's going to draw on stuff you said before, and it also is going to reach back in memory, and half the stuff you're going to get out of it is not going to be accurate or up to date.
one of the challenges that I have is our methodology is very unique in this space, and it flips a lot of things on its head. So HR looks at us and goes, "None of that stuff is going to work because that's not the way we've done it for 30 years."
Mhm.
Industries look at it and say, "That's not that doesn't make sense to me because that's not how we've ever done it." We're very much contrarian, and one of the biggest challenges we have with AI is I'll say, "Hey, can you review this or can you build something like this?"
Mhm.
And I'm like, "Why can't you do this for me?" And you know what? It's actually told me, well, I've learned 10 million ways to do it based on all my data and research and all of
Yeah.
the sources that tell me to do it differently than the way you want it done.
Mhm.
So I'm defaulting to that.
Yeah.
And how often is that happening? We have proprietary processes. We have a certain system. We have a methodology about the way we do work, the way we create work. And then we plug it into AI, and AI spits out the same garbage that it's been trained on 50 million data points.
Yeah, which is exactly it. Is that people aren't a lot of people aren't understanding that you need to slow down to hurry up, right? And part of slowing down to hurry up is to understand how AI works and how LLMs work, and and then realize that it may seem like a real shortcut to be able to throw in a prompt and get something immediate, but you're not doing it properly because you're not challenging it, you're not validating it, you're not going deep enough. So yeah, you're using it as a shortcut and you're getting a lot of AI slop as a result.
Totally. We've got one company that we work with. So when we create, before we create a profile on a new role, we ask them, hey, what information do you have for us? What information can you share? Do you have a job
Yeah.
description? Do you have interview guides? Do you have performance reviews? Anything that you can share so we understand how you consider the role. And we've got one client that's going to ChatGPT and saying, output everything you can think of for this role. And
Right.
I'm not kidding you, 25 pages of AI garbage.
Yep.
And it's
Absolutely.
making assumptions about the company. It's making assumptions about the industry. It's making all these assumptions. And then they upload it to us. And we've started using AI to evaluate what they send us so that we
Mhm.
know, are we getting a lot of good information? And for a while, our AI tools were coming back and say, this is great. This is awesome. This is everything we need. And I was like, but this is leading to more garbage and
Mhm.
lower quality production. And so I said, you know what? What's the stuff we really need? And so we built an AI tool that runs through it and just grabs the pieces we need. They all fit on one page.
Yeah, yeah, that's great.
But we're having to fix the slop that someone else is getting because they look at 25 pages and go, I was productive.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
I did a good job. It's like, no, you just made things a lot harder. And if you hand those 25 pages of garbage to an employee, they're going to look at it and go, well, on page 3, it said to do this, but on page 17, it said to do this. I'm
Yeah,
confused.
exactly.
It's
Exactly,
too
because
much.
here, let everybody into a little bit of a secret. AI is not averse to contradicting itself within its own output, by the way.
Oh,
Um,
you want to hear a scary AI story? Freaked
yeah,
me
yeah,
out
go
the
for
other night. I'm working late and I'm doing some coding with it because I'm doing a lot of that now with
it.
Claude
Mhm.
Code.
Yeah.
And it starts outputting, we did this, we named this file this, we set this up. I mean, it looks so convincing. I'm
Mhm.
like, wow. Well, then I went and I said, let me double check it. Well, none of it's working. So I asked a different tool. I said, why isn't it working? He says, let me look at what happened. None of it. It was all fabricated by AI. AI thought it was doing the work, but it just was logging it as
Yep.
being done, but it wasn't actually
Mhm.
doing anything. And turns out that is a known feature of any large language model. So how often is it hallucinating or how often is it telling you something? If you're not the expert
Yep.
when you're using AI, you're a slave to AI. Like that's where you're not needed anymore. If
Mhm.
you want to be needed in this new world, this new revolution with AI, be smarter than AI. I am much smarter than any AI. Now,
Yeah.
AI is faster than me. So it looks smarter
Yeah,
because it's much
exactly, yeah.
faster. But I can't tell you how many times I'm like, that idea sucks. What about this idea? And it's like, oh my gosh, that idea is so much better.
Yeah, yeah. It is, but that's because you're now interacting with AI as you're treating it, it's a machine, but you're treating it like you would another person. I mean, you're bouncing ideas, you're challenging their thinking and all of that. Yeah, I actually I've started using Claude Code myself and I built this thing. I built an internal validator for a company because um, I wanted to make sure that nothing goes out of our company that's not 150% up to date, validated, accurate,
Yeah.
and all that. So I built this. I built it in Claude, and and it's all set up now. So it always does original research. It always goes out and checks things. And then I even had other LLM models check it, right?
Mm,
So Grok check it, others check it, and
yeah.
everything, and that's what you got to do. And then so now I have this tool that we can validate anything that's produced by AI and produce everything goes. So I always say, last step, run it through the validator, and you'll be amazed because the validator goes out, loads of agents go out, and they scour everything they get. Like they'll go to your website to make sure nothing has changed, everything is up to date, is the
Yeah.
price, yeah, all of that, and it'll come back. It's quite amazing. But that's what you need to do.
Yeah. Well, we talked about performance evaluations
Yeah.
early on, and we built a platform called FieldCon, and it's all about connecting with the field. But what this does is it uses AI. It asks the employee to assess themselves based on their performance around the role. It asks the manager to do that, and then AI looks at those two surveys and says, "Here's the performance review," and it
Right.
builds the whole thing for them. And everybody's like, "Oh, that's easy. I can get AI to do that in a weekend." I go, the amount of validation that happens in the background that you don't even see, that scrubbing it against our methodology and the rules that we've built is insane. So, like, your validator, like, oh, that's easy. I'll just pull that in ChatGPT and be like, is this good? No, the amount of effort that goes in behind the scenes to get it to do it the right way.
Yeah.
And this is something I've learned too. If you're, especially if you're a smaller business or you're very overwhelmed, you often don't have enough SOPs. You do
Right.
not document your standard operating procedures.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, when it comes to using AI, AI only follows standard operating procedures. So if you don't give it, it'll fabricate.
Mhm.
It'll make
Yep.
it up. It's like, oh, you've been in business for 10 years, so this must be how you do it. And it's like, I don't do it like that at all.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
fabricating it based on all of its training.
Mhm.
So the more SOPs you have, the better AI is going to work for you.
Yeah, but if you think about it, it's the same thing with automation, isn't it, Ryan? I mean, if you don't have good processes, you don't have them well defined, you can automate them, but you're just automating crappy processes.
Garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah, just more,
Absolutely.
just done in a more efficient and faster way, right? You're
Just
getting the
moving
garbage
crap
in
faster.
faster and
That's
you're
all.
spitting it out faster.
Yeah. It's all it is. And I think that's where the people misunderstand about it, is they think that they're being more productive
Mhm.
when they're using AI, and they're just, hey, I signed up for ChatGPT this weekend. I had
Yeah.
someone tell me, they're like, oh, I'm on this $15 a month plan, and it's been amazing to me. And I'm sitting here telling them the amount of money that we're spending on these AI models, because yeah,
Yeah,
it might produce something for $15, but then I spend $100 to make sure that what it produced is a quality product.
there you go.
And that's what
Exactly.
people miss.
I think that's a key point for the audience to realize that if you're doing it properly and you're setting it up properly, like Ryan's doing with his internal like systems, or what I do with the validator, yeah, it costs you some money. It
It
doesn't
does.
cost you just time; it costs you token money, because if you're going to do it properly, you have to invest. You have to invest something in it. If you're just doing it with your $15 a month, can you do? Sure, but you're never going to be able to do the rigor.
Yeah. And again, I think it comes down to, and this is the part that I think people need to hear if you're on the front line right now and you're scared that AI is coming for your job. Don't be afraid that AI is coming for your job. You're smarter than AI. I promise you that. Learn to use the tool, just like
Yeah,
any tool. If a new tool comes into your world, a new software program, a new physical tool, a new piece of equipment, if you don't learn that tool, you will become obsolete.
yeah, yeah. You
Take the time to learn the tool.
No, absolutely, and that is the simplest thing you can do, is go and learn it properly, and don't get sucked into the world that we live in today, the shortcut culture where things like, oh, this is great, I don't have to think anymore. This does the thinking for me. Well, guess what? You're kind of paid to think. So if you decide to outsource all of your thinking, then what are you getting paid for?
Yeah, because AI will always do better than you.
Yeah.
Always will do better than you, but it won't think better than you. Not yet. It may be in
Mhm.
10
Yeah.
years, it'll
Yeah,
be there to
maybe.
think
Yeah,
better
yeah.
than you.
I'm not. I'm not.
But
I'm
even
not
then,
scratching on 10 years at the moment.
even then, it'll still not be real thinking. It
Mhm.
still will not be intuition. It will just be running through scenarios faster and faster and faster until it comes up with a viable scenario that it thinks you're going to like.
Mhm.
But I think you're right. You think better, so you do the thinking. And I think the important piece too is you're a human better than AI ever will be.
Yeah, yeah,
Do the
exactly.
human stuff better. If you are struggling and you're in the front lines and you're thinking AI is coming for me, you know what? Learn to take a class on becoming a better communicator. Don't sit down with Claude and say, Claude, can you make me a better communicator? Go
Yeah.
take a class where you sit with other humans and you become a better communicator. You become more charismatic. You learn sales techniques. Those things will take you so much further in your career with AI and being a leader than AI ever will be able to replace you.
And just one last thought I wanted to run by you, Ryan, because I believe this firmly, right? In the past, as we've gone through like big technology leaps, right? It's tended to, in many ways, favor younger people, like people who are native to, or younger, who are
Yeah.
whatever, so they're over, and And a lot of times it's been for older people, it's like it's landed on them and then it's made them, oh, now I'm like stressed out and I can't. Here's what I think about AI. I think it's the opposite with AI, because
Mm.
I think that when you bring your experience, your education, your insights, everything that's, all that from your whole career, and you use that in combination with AI, that's the killer app.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Thank
Thank you
you.
for watching and listening, and I'll see you all again very soon. Thank you.